Today I'm going to be making a bingo apron, and I went on ahead and created my pattern. I have this book of patterns that I create with directions, so that way if I like it I can reference it back and I don't have to go through and figure out the measurements again. So anyway, you're going to start with two base pieces, one front, one back. They're 26 inches by 14 inches. Then you're going to do two strap pieces, and that's going to be 32 by 4 inches. And then you're going to do one pocket piece that's 26 by 12 inches. If you have a pattern, you want to make sure that it's going the direction that you want it to go. So make sure whenever you're measuring that the 26-inch side is on the bottom and the 14-inch sides are on the sides, left and right sides. The first thing we're going to do is take our straps over to the ironing board. We will fold them in half and iron. Then we will bring the raw edges to the middle on both sides and iron. And then last we'll fold it in half and then iron. I did cut two pocket pieces because I'm going to make this apron reversible. Now what you're going to do with one of your raw edge sides, you are going to cut the corners by just a little bit at a diagonal so they look like that. Take your left side, fold it in, then take your right side and tuck it under this strap. Kind of push it in a little bit, and then, whoops, we'll do this. And this gives you a cleaner finish. So I'm going to use red thread for this project because I've got quite a bit of it and I haven't used it yet. So I always wind 2 bobbins, or make sure that I have at least 2 bobbins for my projects, and that way I have some set up for the next time that I use this color. We will now sew the strap down both sides, as well as the end that we tucked in. When I get to the corner, I'm going to leave my needle down, lift my presser foot, and rotate my fabric, put my presser foot back on, and then continue sewing. Now we will take our pocket piece, or pieces if you're doing a reversible one, and we're going to fold them the long ways with pretty sides facing, or the long sides touching, I should say. And on my seam allowances, I'm just lining the edge of the fabric up with the edge of my presser foot. At the edge of my first pocket, and instead of pulling it out and cutting it, I feel like that wastes unnecessary thread, so I'm just going to pull it back a little bit and place my next pocket piece of fabric. Now we will turn our pockets right side out. Take your pockets and place this seam in the middle, and then we're going to iron this down. So make sure your pattern pieces are facing up, and you're going to top stitch at the top of the pocket piece. I'm going to draw a straight line across that is 4 inches down, and that is going to be the top of my pocket. Now I'm using heat erasable pins, so that way I can just iron this and the ink will disappear. So now put your pocket piece along that line. Make sure your patterns are facing the correct way, and then you're just gonna trace down where the bottom of the pocket is, and this will be your guide when you're sewing, so you can keep it lined up, or you can use pins if you would rather use pins to keep it in place. Make sure your seam is facing down so that way it's not visible, and you are going to measure 3 inches from the left, and then from there you're going to measure 11 inches, and this is going to give you 3 pockets. I have a pocket for my pens and then 2 pockets for whatever else that I might need. Okay, now before you go and stitch on your pocket, make sure you like the way that it is. I think I'm going to move mine down 1 inch, my pocket down 1 inch, so that way I have more room at the top in case I stick like envelopes or something else that sticks out of the pocket. I got to looking at it and I didn't like how much space there was on the right side, so I'm also going to do 3 inches, or measure 3 inches from the right side and make another pocket. Now to have a more professional look, you want to line your needle up with this thread. If you aren't doing a reversible apron, then you're going to want to put the back piece down, pretty sides up, and take your strap. Make sure you have the finished edge on the inside. You want the raw edge to go just past the raw edge here, and then you're going to clip it into place. The same thing to the other side. Now you're going to take your front piece and you are going to place it on top and line it up with the back piece. And then you can pin it into place all around. That way it stays and does not move. We are going to start sewing on the bottom of the apron. You want to leave a 4-inch gap so that way you can turn the apron right side out. So we are going to stop at this clip and start at this clip. Make sure you backstitch a couple times at the beginning and the end, so that way when you're turning it right side out, the thread doesn't rip. Once you get to the straps, you're also going to backstitch a couple times. That way the straps are durable and can withstand the pressure whenever you pull it. Make sure your straps stay tucked into the middle of the apron. That way when you're sewing up here, they don't get trapped over there.
let's clip our corners. Just make sure you don't snip the thread. Find our opening, and we are just going to flip our apron right side out. I like to iron my fabric before I top stitch it. Gives it a nice crisp look. I am tucking in my raw edges at the bottom, and I'm going to iron it down. We're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and we are just going to do a top stitch all the way around the apron. And here's our reversible apron.